Hi, welcome back to the channel. This week we're looking at Bytes' latest, Transfigure. Now in its very simplest form, and I'm doing it a disservice here, think of it as a multi-effect in the tradition of something like Infiltrator, in a way that it will completely twist and mangle your sound. We'll get onto some presets in a moment, and I'll show you just how true that is. And I said that was doing it a disservice because Transfigure basically at its heart has two special modes, Spectral mode and Resynthesis mode. I'll go through those in a moment. But overall, is that it's able to make your sound completely unrecognizable, or be subtle, or anywhere in the middle. So first up, we'll go through some presets, just so you have an idea of how this sounds. I'm going to use 4 drum loops, 4 techno drum loops. With Transfigure disabled, they sound like this. So Techno 101 essentially, and I'll flick back and forth between these loops as I'm playing back the presets. So let's go to my favorites folder. Now one thing that I've immediately noticed, and I was really pleasantly surprised by, is when I was going through these presets, I was marking them as you can see here, and we have various categories, subtle, intense, glitch, etc. And I was worried that when I start playing these presets back, it's going to be jumping from subtle to resynthesis to spectral, and it's going to be a bit of a nightmare to follow along. However, what they've done, they've still kept that order. So these ones down here, where the alphabet starts again, so basically auto freeze, that's the first one in the intense category. And I'm going to say that wasn't an accident, that was intentional, but little things like this just make the user experience just so much better. So without any further ado, let's play back Abfahrt, which obviously to native English speakers that sounds quite comical, but I think it means exit in German. So ironically, let's start with the exit. If the levels are bouncing around a bit, apologies for that. I would usually say that I would like the presets to be quite well level matched, but in Bytes' defense, it's very hard to level match these presets when it's all dependent on the audio input. So essentially they get a free pass for that, but just sorry in advance for any fluctuating volumes. Don't forget, this is just that same drum loop, or one of the 4. Let's add another drum loop to this. It's an absolute techno monster, this thing. Let's put that drum loop back on again, the dry one. I just love it. This is one of my favorites, actually. Put that drum loop back on. And we have a track already. Now we're getting on to the Spectral and Resynthesis presets. So here the volume is going to fluctuate a little bit more. I've just dropped it down a little bit further, but it will still fluctuate. All from one drum loop, don't forget. Honestly, so much fun. Right, so let's have a look at it then. Now, I'm on the default patch. Now, I should point out, this is the default patch for me. It's more likely different to you. That's because I accidentally overrode the default one. So the top section is the modulator section. So here we have an envelope follower, followed by a trigger, and then a random, and then we have 4 envelopes over here to the right. And I say envelopes, but they are much more than that. So if we click on those, we can essentially draw in really any shape we want. So yes, they're envelopes, but they're also LFOs as well, or any shape that you like. We have different options here, so we can draw lines, we can put steps in, we can select them and move them across, or we can stretch entire sections like so. Or if we're feeling lucky, we can randomize. In the middle here, we have a spectral display of the incoming content. So if I play back our drum loop, you can see the majority of the energy in this lower region, because obviously it's a drum loop. We can add a high pass, or we can add a low pass, or somewhere in between. And then below that we get onto Spectral, which is the first half of the main event. Now the Spectral engine splits the sound into different frequencies, which you can then manipulate. And the amount of frequencies is determined by this parameter here. So obviously as we turn it down to 64, it gets more gritty and lo-fi. The default is 1024, but we can go to 4096. So let's keep it, or let's go down to 64 just while we're messing about here. So let's create something with it then. I'm going to pull the threshold down, so it's just capturing the top of the kick. And then in the random module, we're going to use trigger. Turn the amount up. Let's start with around there. The freeze rate we'll assign to trigger. Let's put this back to host clock on 1/4. Here, let's put this on sync also. It's a bit too fast, let's put this on half, and then the freeze rate we'll put to 1/8. Turn the depth down. Now by adjusting this thin little bar in the middle, we are applying, in this case, a high pass to all of the frequency content, to all of the incoming signal. However, if we only want to apply spectral to a certain frequency range, we'll turn this back down, and then in character, we'll click on this little horizontal line. And in this case, we're on freeze, so let's have only the high frequencies be affected by freeze. Take it down to around there. Or just for fun of it, let's do the other way around. Super cool. Next up we have delay time, and once again this allows for different delay times per band. And once again, let's put this only on the high frequencies. We'll change the mode to feedback delay, so it sends the input back in. As you can see, it's very easy to get carried away having fun with this plugin, which, as I say in every Sugar Bytes video, is what they do best. All their plugins are so inviting for you just to go in and just explore and have fun. I really like that about them. Now I'm not going to go through all the parameters because we'll be here for days, so I'll skip over transpose and fine tune. I think they're quite self-explanatory, and instead we'll move on to harmonize, which is one of my favorite features. So this will take the external sound and it will convert it essentially to a selected scale. Let's turn this up. And we will change this to, I don't know, let's go to major jazz. We'll go major chord. Minor chord. And in fact, instead of using a drum loop, let's use something which is more atonal, which is where this really shines. And I'm going to use this kind of haunted drone pad thing. So turn Transfigure off so you can hear it dry. Let's turn Transfigure on. And immediately you can hear it try to snap that to scale. Change this to, I don't know, jazz, minor jazz perhaps. Really cool feature, and you can get absolutely crazy with it. Let's change our bands to 4096. And and this go major chord now. Attack and release are individual envelopes for each band. Once again, we can apply that per frequency here. Next up, we have the amount and modifier, and these are essentially gates. So these determine how the sound is let through, basically like the way a gate behaves. So if we choose transient, then only the transients are let through. But let's skip over to this band section to the right, which is super cool. And here we can add gaps in the bands like so. Let's go back to our drum loops. We'll put this on 128 perhaps. Adjust the frequency of them, or we can shift them. Once again, getting carried away. And the final parameters in the spectral section are once again relatively self-explanatory, except perhaps for reshape. And reshape aims to restore any loss in level as a result of any of this processing. In this particular example, we've actually increased the level, but the majority of times you're going to be reducing the level. So this reshape parameter essentially restores that level. I'm sure there's some clever trickery behind the scenes because it isn't just a gain control, it is a little bit more complicated than that. Volume, stereo, and mix, I don't think I need to explain, I think you understand that. So let's move on to resynthesis now. And resynthesis does what it says on the tin. It takes the incoming audio, it splits that by band, and it creates an oscillator for each one of these bands. The oscillator is obviously determined here. So here we have this saw wave, or we can change that, make it whatever we want. A proper saw wave like that, or we can go something like a square like that in the middle perhaps. The parameters here for the most part are the same. So let's have a bit of a play. I won't go and explain them all other than the ones that are different. Let's put our wave back down to where it was, which is this sine saw kind of waveform. Let's turn the mix up just a little bit. Don't go too crazy because this can get quite unruly and loud. Diminished. So a bit of big rushing. Some FM. It's just so cool. I love it. I keep on saying the same thing. It is so easy to get lost for hours just playing around with this thing. And then finally we have two effects. So in here we have the usual suspects: delay, phaser, filter, reverb. But then we have looper and capture also, which add a whole nother level. But in the interest of time, I would encourage you to download the demo and explore those for yourself, and be prepared to get lost for quite a few hours just messing around with it. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.